Alright, so now I'm going to show you why you don't ever need to use a compressor or ever need to use a limiter. And you can use them if you want, but you need to know why you're using them. And just because someone's told you that you're supposed to use them does not mean you're supposed to use them. So I'll do the demonstration on some drums here. And basically, like when you're using a compressor or you're using a limiter, you're changing the dynamics is all you're doing. So you're trying to get extra volume, or you're trying to get something like punch or whatever, special word, verb you want to use, or adjective even, whatever you're trying to do. You're basically changing the dynamics either way, and they're kind of like the opposites to each other, So compressor takes the loud parts and turns them down. Okay, so if I take the makeup gain off, the kick is obviously the loudest part in the drums here, So the compressor takes down the loud part, which is the kick, and then if you turn the makeup gain back up again to get to like a similar volume again, you've changed the dynamics of the drums that you've created, basically. You've turned the kick down through the compressor, and then you're turning it all up again afterwards, like that, And it doesn't really sound very good. So the next way is limiting, which is kind of the opposite, and also doesn't sound very good. So limiting, basically, instead of turning down the loud parts, it turns up the quiet parts, So if I turn up the gain here, so what you've done here is you've basically sort of put like a ceiling onto it's at 0, so it won't go above 0, and you're gaining everything up into that, and it's going to take like the lower volume sounds in the group and it's going to bring them up. So it's basically doing the opposite of the compressor. Compressor takes the loud parts and brings it down. Limiter takes the quiet parts and brings them up. But again, it's changing the dynamics, and it doesn't really sound good, So if you were to just turn up the volume with a gain plugin, it would sound infinitely better, You might already be maxed out, but if you haven't maxed out your volume by gaining the whole thing up in against a clipper, I've got a clipper on the end here, just at 0, and just gaining everything up normally. If you compare like that to limiting, for example, limiting is awful because of what it's done to the kick drum, and the compressor, again, it's really turned down the kick drum, and the dynamics are different, and it sounds awful. But just by turning the volume up, you've got clearly like the best method, So things like that. That's why you don't need to use compressors on your master or your limiter, because if you use them like on the drums here, like whether you use it on the drums or on the master, it's still going to be applied to the drums as well, because the drums are in the master. So it's always going to make it worse. So that's why I never use compression or limiting in mixing and mastering for this kind of thing, on things that have your drums in, or your bait, or like there's some reasons to use a compressor in other parts of the track, but not on something like where it's really important with the kick drum, So that's why I don't use limiters or compression for mixing and mastering, really. And as like a general thing, that's kind of like, because the dynamics, you want to do it yourself. So when you've got the gain turned up, if you wanted that like limiter effect, because it's turning up the low parts, so you just find the low things in your mix that you didn't turn up enough. Like let's say, for example, this background atmosphere thing, just turn that up individually here, and then that's going to sound a bit nicer in the drum group. And I could maybe do the same thing for these like little background cymbals, I'll turn these guys up, and in the drum beat again, Like now they sound really good, and now I haven't I haven't ruined the dynamics of my beat by limiting or compressing. I've kept the dynamics pure, and I've just turned it up into the clipper. And then to get even extra volume from the lower parts, like the limiter would have done, I've just chosen those lower parts and mixed them myself by turning them up, you know? So that's just a little short and quick, easy video today on why you don't need to use compression or limiting, because most often it will change the dynamics and weaken your sound. So I try to stay away from that. I don't use limiters at all. I just use clippers and gain. I do use compression though, but just not on this kind of job where it's like affecting the whole drums or like the whole master. I use compression on other jobs where you need to get a more balanced volume level across a channel, like with vocals when they're really out of the volumes are all different, or when you've got loads of different bass shots and the volumes are all different and you kind of want to just level things out. That's when I use a compressor to like naturally turn the volume down on things where the volumes are too random and different, you know. But I don't use it like on important things like drums or mastering chains. I have just in my mastering chain, my students who have booked my mastering course will know that I do a little bit of analog kind of compression, but that's very different. I'm talking here theoretically in like the actual use case of a compressor or a limiter, and why it's best to avoid those if you want to keep a strong sound, you know. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching my G's. Make sure you like and subscribe and comment down below. Appreciate all your support on the channel. And if you wouldn't mind checking out the video description and the links in there, you can find preset packs for Serum, Vital, Phase Plant and Current on my website. Got a brand new Serum bundle as well up there. And you can also hit me up for one-on-one lessons. Dive into one of your tracks together. It'll be a really good way to level up your sound. Email me for mastering work as well. Get a much better result with me than you would with any AI program. And finally, come along and join me on Patreon if my videos have helped you out along the years and you want to show some support. Come and join our wonderful Discord community. All right, that's it from me today. More from me soon. Much love.